The Columbus Day mattress sale is happening now at Sleep Outfitters. Save big with store-wide savings up to 70% off and free TVs. Like this Sealy pillow top with gel memory foam, just $4.99 plus get a free TV. Find Tempur-Pedic queen sets as low as $34 per month with 0% financing every day and free same-day delivery. Make Sleep Outfitters the first place you shop for your new mattress. But hurry, this sale ends Monday and it's only at Sleep Outfitters.
Hello and welcome to the Tennessean's Bernard Pollard Show. We are presented this week and every week by Sleep Outfitters. I'm Jessica Bliss, your host. We're here live at Moe's Barbecue in Cool Springs. Hi everybody, thanks for being here. We are a smaller group here this week. As I'm sure you all know, our host of the show, Bernard Pollard, is at home recovering from his Achilles surgery, which happened this morning. He has already posted pictures of it, so if you go and search hashtag Pollard Show on any one of our Twitter accounts, you can see a picture of his foot elevated in a little bit of cast. But I am here with David Climer, our columnist, and John Glennon, the Titans beat reporter for the Tennessean. Thanks for being here, guys.
I'm glad to be here. I miss Bernard because it's an older, less athletic group now. Right?
Exactly.
What are you saying?
Nothing about you.
Okay, thank you. I was a little bit offended by that. So I think we should start off just talking specifically about injuries, and why don't we go ahead and start off addressing Bernard and what his recovery looks like, what you guys know as far as his status.
Well, it's, Achilles obviously is a very, very serious injury. In some cases, it can put an end to an athlete's career. Certainly not all the time, not even the majority of the time, but it's a serious injury, from reports I've seen, on medical websites and that kind of thing. It's like a minimum generally of a 6-month recovery period. So it's going to be a long time for Bernard. Fortunately, he's got a contract that goes into next year as well. So certainly the Titans will be looking for him to return to form next year. But it's a tough one to come back, and he's going to have to spend some time. Bernard's an active guy. He's not going to want to sit around for too long. But it's a challenge to come back from.
John, I think it's rest and then rehab. Certainly you have to recover from any surgery, but Achilles is a tough one, as we both know. But for Bernard Pollard at this stage in his career, he's not the youngest safety out there. It's going to be a little tougher, but the guy's, he's been resilient, he's been healthy. He played a Super Bowl with cracked ribs and all that. I know career-ending injury is something that we talk about, but there's really every reason to believe he can rebound from this and be back and play for the Titans again next year.
You would think so. If anyone is going to make that kind of recovery, you'd think a guy like Bernard, as you mentioned, very rare is he injured, and even when he is injured, he plays through it a lot. You just take one look at the guy, and if you wanted to say, here's what a football player should look like, you could pretty much put Bernard Pollard up there. So it's going to be a challenge, but he's certainly got the experience. And I think one thing we forget a little bit about Bernard too is that as tough and rough a guy as he is, and as long as we've been hearing his name, he's not even 30 years old yet.
Right.
So he's not over the hill like we are. Not you, Jessica. He's still a relatively young guy. So I think he's still got some football ahead of him.
Now it's a hit in the secondary. He's been playing well. I know there are a lot of these websites that grade film and all that. There's a reason he's on the field, and really an every down player. The coaching staff believes in him and believes he's playing well. So it's a hit at safety in a secondary that's already, frankly, a little short-handed. But the bigger hit to me is in the locker room. The guy is one of those real leaders on the team, an outspoken guy. I know we in the media gravitate to him. A lot of fans gravitate to him. But I also think when you see him in the locker room and see the way guys react and respond to him, that leadership role is really tough to replace. He'll be around the team in time, but you can't really lead from the training room. So who steps forward, or who should step forward now as a leader on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because that's something that has been lacking in Titans teams in previous years. I think that was a big get for the Titans in that regard. They didn't have a whole lot of vocal, emotional leaders, and for them to bring in Bernard Pollard, last season was a big step in that direction. Now, I think they've done a better job of bringing in some more guys in that regard. You look at a guy like Wesley Woodyard, who just came in this year and was named a team captain. He's clearly a guy that gets a lot of respect and is a leader out there. I think you see a guy that will take a lot of Bernard's snaps. George Wilson is very much like Bernard in some ways. Very vocal, very, very outspoken, very well-respected guy. So I think people will look towards him as well. And you look at another guy who was a captain last year on the defensive side, Jason McCourty. Not quite the vocal presence that Bernard or George Wilson is, but I think another well-respected guy. So I think they have made some strides the last couple years in getting a more veteran, more leadership presence out there. So hopefully that will kind of help the Bernard Pollard situation.
One more thing about Bernard and the injury, and if you're watching Bernard, get well soon. Hope you're doing well.
Definitely.
And I know the people out here feel the same way. The injury, he defended the pass that led to what was actually the winning touchdown. Really, I thought very good coverage, great throw, great catch. I kept watching the tape trying to figure out, how did he get hurt on that play? I understand he got hurt on the extra point, right?
Yeah, that's actually what happened. Is that obviously it was a very decisive extra point because it was going to be the difference in the game. And Bernard Pollard is a guy who has blocked a good number of kicks in his career, so you can imagine how much effort, extra effort he was putting in to try and blocking that kick. And when you explode out of your stance, to try and block that kick, that's my understanding is that's when the injury occurred. So. Of all the plays, an extra point is the one that does it to him. But that's the way it goes. And Bernard already, to his credit, we've seen his tweets.
Oh yeah.
We've seen his Instagram. He does seem to be already in a pretty positive frame of mind and already kind of set on moving forward.
Yeah, great. So, Bernard obviously is not the only major injury that this team is facing, and the other one that everybody's talking about is Jake Locker. Tell us a little bit about his thumb and what you expect. Do you expect to see him this week, and what's the update there?
Now, John, you saw him last night, right, at the charity. What was the name of that charity?
That was the T-Bones for something I should remember, but I'm not recalling. But it raised, my understanding is it raised over $100,000 for charity last night. So pretty impressive work by Jake. But yeah, last night it was interesting watching Jake because obviously we know Jake is right-handed, but he was making the rounds last night shaking with the left hand, serving with the left hand. So things are clearly not at 100% for Jake. But again, in similar vein to Bernard, Jake Locker has proven to be a pretty quick healer. He's had plenty of injuries over his years. He has to be a quick healer. So I think it's just going to be a matter of time. If that swelling goes down in the thumb, they'll practice tomorrow. My guess is he probably won't practice tomorrow, just a guess. We're going to have to watch that the next few days, and it just depends on the swelling, whether that goes down in a reasonable amount of time.
And a couple of other injuries we know about Jake, but they're short on tight ends. What do you do there? How do you adjust? You're around them every day.
Yeah, that's a good question. Bernard Pollard is obviously going to go on IR here at some point, but who do you fill that roster spot with? Do you automatically say, look at a guy like Khalid Wooten on the practice squad who has played some safety in the past? Do you move him up? Or are you going to say, look, we've got two tight ends that are hurting. Maybe we need to bring in a tight end at this point. So that's another option. And then just to look at the other injury spot, the cornerback situation, the Titans are hoping Bleedy Ray Wilson is coming back this week from the concussion he suffered 2 Sundays ago. And it looks like Cody Sensabaugh's knee injury is not too severe either. So cornerback looks like it's getting a little bit better, but certainly tight end and safety are still big question marks at this point.
Yeah, and concussions are still such a big issue right now. I'm sure that's a very sensitive situation. They don't want to rush him back too soon.
Come see me next Tuesday at Sleep Outfitters. If you have any questions, #Pollard Show.